Welcome to the Healer's Circle, where extraordinary healers share their personal journeys, wisdom, and how to heal yourself. My hope is that their insights, practical tips, and aha moments inspire and guide you in discovering your own gifts to reach your highest potential. Welcome Rachel Cooley and Mark Mezadourian to join me today for this chat.
Thank you, Ingrid. We're excited to be here.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
I'll just share just a little bit about each of you before I share why I'm so excited to have both of you on this chat at the same time, which is not the typical case. So I'll just say a little bit about Rachel is an Angel Therapy Practitioner, author, angelic guidance mentor, and also certification trainer who has spent the last 26 years inspiring and guiding women to reconnect with their divine guidance and angelic support. And then for Mark, he's an intuitive, specializing in connecting with the angels and guides. His work encompasses the core of all spiritual traditions, peace and love. And he helps people realize their dreams and how to live a fulfilling life. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
So the reason I am so excited to have both of you, if I may share, is that you guys are brother and sister, and you guys are both working with angels. So this is so magical to me because I have sisters who I so adore, and having that relationship to me is so special. So I would love to hear, how did you both get on your journey? And was there an influence already, the way you guys were brought up, that you both arrived here, or what's the story?
Should I start, Mark?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, sister.
So I would say for me, on my path, that my mom, her seeking out spirituality, she introduced me to spirituality. And I was really inspired by what she was learning. And I would started to go to spiritual events and talks with her, which were really inspiring. And I also found, from what my mom was learning and sharing with me, I found at times relief from intense fear, stress, and worries, which was very helpful. And so I just kept going on the path, and I really took to it. And then I started taking my mom to spiritual events, and Mark and I started going to spiritual events too. And it was really special. And then basically through my spiritual path, the angels just started appearing to me through other people initially, and receiving angel gifts such as angel cards, angel statues, and some books. And then from there, my path just really took off in 99 when I went on the path as the doors opened to become certified and working with the angels 26 years ago.
That's amazing. After Mark answers, I want to ask a question about the being a child, because my daughter is now in that phase, but I'll come back to that question after Mark's answer.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, there's spirituality in the family for sure. Also, without going into it, religion seemed absurd in our family, absurd. And so it's just recognizing that there was more, and perhaps something more loving and less rule-based, and being kind of a skeptical person and defiant person. And it's like, let's go over here. This is nonsense. Let's go over here. And Rachel was in Angel Land a bit ahead of me. There was that book in the 80s, The Book of Angels by Sophie Burnham, that I think we both had. I mean, it was early 90s. Yeah. It was late 80s. Anyway, but that book was helpful. And just seeing how the conversation kept evolving, but similar to Rachel, just having personal experience and having major experiences of, just intuition and guidance and help. So all those things added up.
Yeah. So now I have two questions already coming up that I didn't even mean to ask. But
yes, let's hear.
My daughter's again coming through, because she had one, because you mentioned, Mark, that, well, the religious versus this one. And the other day, my daughter asked, like, well, at school we started to talk about this. And so the angels that you are talking to, Mommy, like I said, I'm going to have an interview with you guys, versus the ones that they're talking about, like with the God and angels. Is this the same thing? I said, you know what? Let me ask you guys.
It's the same angels, but angels are free agents. Guides are free agents. And so I think you could pretty rapidly discern and discernment's a big thing in spirituality. Discern the difference between like, oh, angels, all the rules around angels, like 7 tiers of angels, they never talk about that. So we're used to hierarchy. Humans work with hierarchy, and they don't. And this is where angels work with unconditional love.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just unconditional love. Like, is there an order of unconditional? Like, you deserve more conditional love. Like, it's unconditional love. And our role in engaging with this is to put the back into it. We're used to conditional love. I'll love you if, And so it's a seeing and accepting that clarity. And that's very helpful in terms of a guideline. Like, what is a human rule? And I think a lot of people used to a lot of threats. You better do this, and what if there's an absence of threats and encouragement instead?
I love that.
And that's the space that we occupy in doing spiritual work with angels.
Yeah, I love that. Often people also ask that, well, so what's the difference? Are angels or guides, or is it all coming? Like, what's the story there? Could you clarify a little bit the difference between just guides or angels, or where is this information coming from when you work with angels?
You want to go ahead, Mark?
Yeah, sure. So the angels and guides they're gonna. It doesn't not to say it doesn't matter who shows up. They're gonna find the open door.
Yeah.
And if it's David Bowie, great. If it's Archangel Michael, great. If it's Kuan Yin, great. Or if it's a combination of all of them, great. Or an ancestor. But they're going to find the open door. And what we can do is meet them halfway with intention. And thank you, angels, for being with me right now. Thank you, Grandma, for being with me right now. Thank you for protecting all of us right now. And just seeing what happens then. Like, who shows up, and trusting in this, that our spirituality is as individuals, our fingerprint, that it's not cookie cutter. We could use techniques for sure, but it's just seeing like who shows up for you, who resonates for you, who do you have an affinity for, and just seeing how that works. Rachel and I, we had a profoundly loving grandmother, was a major figure in our lives. And when she passed, that was a big deal in terms of she came forward a lot,
Yeah, she made herself known very clearly. Yes.
Yeah.
Beautifully.
Yeah. Would you want to add anything to that, Rachel?
I feel like what you express is right on, of course. And I feel, the angels are here to support us no matter what. And the key with working with the angels, from my experience, is that they love us to invite them in, and to invite them in to help us, to support us, to guide us. And that could be whether we say it out loud or we think it in our minds or we write it out, but essentially giving them that beautiful permission to help us, at the same time knowing that when it really comes down to it and they really need help, they will come through.
Yeah.
And
for
guide
the
us.
ones who are starting to kind of like tune in and like, well, how do I know if it's the angels I'm, connecting to, or like you said, grandma or somebody else? Like, do you have a way to guide people? Like, well, this is the way it's. Go ahead, Mark. It seems like you're nodding, or Rachel.
What we're talking about is the difference between ego and spirit.
Yeah.
And our ego's job is to keep us alive, which would mean that even if things aren't going well, that you're alive. And so the ego is going to try to maintain that status quo. And so the ego is going to work with conditional wording and conditional forces like could, would, should, need to, have to. And that might sound like you better not do this, be careful with this. And that is the opposite of unconditional love. And so guidance is going to come with unconditional love, whether you see it, feel it, hear it, know it, sense it, or smell it, or taste it. And smell and taste are kind of subsets, but we're all hardwired for intuition. And it's just practicing that. But also after a very short while, it's crystal clear what is guidance, because it either sounds like guidance or feels like guidance.
Yes.
And our job in that is to receive. Go ahead, sister.
I was going to say, divine guidance is reassuring, loving, and also when they really want to get us a message, it's repetitive as well, for sure, and from different sources, which is always so cool.
So that can come through songs and this and that. Like in a tough period of my life, I kept hearing. In one day, I heard the song "Dog Days Are Over," like an absurd amount of times. Or another day, a song I heard a million times, "Don't Stop" by Fleetwood Mac. I was in a store and I heard, like, for the first time, "Yesterday's gone, it'll be better than before." Just they're going to find the open door.
Yes.
So would you say that people who are trying to start tuning into it, it's like, be open to whatever form? Can you list some other, like you said, it could be through music or through numbers. What other forms would you have people to notice? They're like, oh, you mean this is how the angels are communicating with me?
Well, also it comes into angel signs, right? Like, so we could be noticing repetitive numbers happening, especially fours, which are connected to your angels are strongly present with you. Also, it could be, finding a beautiful feather in perfect divine timing, such as praying for help, and then you find this feather. And most likely, a lot of times it's going to be in a place that you don't know how it could have gotten there.
Right.
Like there's so many ways that they come to us. And it also comes to us through other people through overhearing a conversation or having a conversation with someone that really brings forward, like you're realizing, wow, I've been receiving guidance.
It
It
kind
could
of
also be on a truck or a sign. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's kind of like when it's a different person who's not even part of your conversation, but somehow you just notice it for like, wait, what? Is it that way? Like, even though it's like just overhearing someone else's, even in the grocery store or somewhere.
Exactly. Or a cafe. Like I had a client of mine that was being guided to go to Santa Cruz for an event where I was going to be actually with Soul Search, because that's how we know you, Ingrid. And she was deciding if she was going to go, and she went to a cafe and these two men were talking, and one of them said, "It's a great time to go to Santa Cruz." It was like amazing. So she's like, okay, that's a green light. I'm going.
That's right. This is so great. Can you share a little bit more of the initial, because you said, Rachel, that you started to connect with it a bit early already, naturally, in the sense, because you grew up with your mom, well, both of you, of course, being open to it. And so I'm just curious, like when I'm looking at my own daughter watching me, and of course, sometimes she's like, don't talk about it in front of her friends, God forbid, because she's still, shy about it.
Conscious, yes.
Yes. And then I'm wondering, how is that going to influence the way she's growing up? So I'm curious to hear more. What do you remember the relationship with your mom that either supported you more towards it, or what did you get out of it? I'm curious, what is my daughter getting out of me doing this?
What is she getting? Well, for me, I mean, and for us, it was like when we were a little bit older. I'm not sure how old your daughter is. It sounds like she's a lot younger.
12 now, yeah.
12 now, yeah. So it was more like, I would say, like in my late teens, early 20s, that our mom started, really seeking out spirituality, and she started sharing with me more and more about it, and about the books she was reading, and about the classes she was going to. And I really started opening up to it, because it just felt more comfortable to me than quote unquote religion or organized religion. And I wanted to go, more in that direction, because I was feeling, if the energy felt really good and powerful. And I just kept walking through those open doors with her into all those spiritual events and all the experiences. And then I started taking her to spiritual talks and events.
I love that.
Started going with Mark as well. So it was really it just happened beautifully and naturally and organically and in perfect timing.
And Mark, what do you remember from, like, was it encouraging to witness it, even if nothing else, just so you know that, oh, it's normal, it's okay? Or
the permission part wasn't so much for me part of the thing, because coming back to what I was speaking about earlier, like the opposite seemed ridiculous.
Yeah,
so it wasn't an option. And just seeing like what works. I do think, to directly answer what you're asking, I think spirituality, we use all of ourselves in spiritual work. And we live in Western culture, we focus on segmentation and division. And what's it like to use all of ourselves? What's it like to actually be peaceful? What's it like to be serene and wise? And if we look at, there's a metaphor from pinball machines of, are we the pinball bouncing around, or are we the flipper? And in spiritual work, we're more apt to be the flipper, which we recognize that our intentions matter, our thoughts matter, and that we have help. And to actually utilize support. Thank you, angels, for being strong and present with all of us. Thank you for all the flights in the world being on time and fully engaged. Thank you for everyone being safe, well, and happy in the world. that we put forward strong intentions and we witness, and maybe we take action, corresponding action with that. But what I find with younger people in this work is to be very straightforward about it, and to recognize that there are key questions, that the ones that you've posed, like basically, how does this work? And it is individual, but there are techniques, which is that our thoughts matter, our peace of mind matters, and it's just recognizing what does bring us peace of mind, and to start without working with contrasts is very helpful also, in terms of what conversations are other people having that perhaps are unsatisfying, what conversations to have are satisfying. And this all comes back to authenticity.
Yeah. I'm wondering if you have and again, it's like I had no idea to even go that route, but especially a few years ago, I witnessed, even in my small circle of friends, somebody knows somebody whose teenager was attempting a suicide. And of course, I'm not going to go into too deep of what my own beliefs around it and everything, but I also feel that there might be a big disconnect with these younger generation coming on. They're so in tuned, but their parents are still kind of like back in the days of they don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to have their children lean into it. So for the ones who are they have parents who are oblivious, but yet they want to support their kids, what can we tell them? Even if it is as simple as, like you're saying, let's do the prayer, even if we don't know where or what would you suggest there for the parents to support their children growing up with so much that they end up with as bad as suicide, but struggling because there's a huge gap between the parents not knowing this world enough and youngsters already born with so in tuned and don't know what to do with it.
Wow.
There's a lot with all this, and the anxiety, if we could just zero in, and this is a very helpful book that I happen to have on my desk here, which is a distillation of the catastrophic impact of smartphones and social media, especially on younger people. And if we get into practicality, if we define anxiety as being based in uncertainty, and that comes from, perhaps we could put a link in the thing. There's an article by a psychiatrist in Boston named Ellen Hendrickson, who talks about the correlation between the phones and anxiety. And what we can do, especially with younger people, and it's easier to see the impact of the phones on younger people, and that we have starting places for conversations and such. But if we zero in on the phones, great technology, not good for our psyche. And just start to model what it's like to not have those on our persons all the time, to certainly have them off at night, or to not be used as an alarm clock and all that. But just to get into a conversation around phone use. And basically what has vanished is long brain waves. And so our brains are working out of balance. So long brain waves would be having a long conversation, taking a walk, watching a movie without interruption, reading a book, having a long conversation, all those things. And with the phones, everything is a short brain wave. Everything is very staccato. Yeah. And so once again, our brains are working out of balance, and just seeing what's it like to, have dinner cell phone free, and to perhaps not have the phone be the first thing someone wakes up. Also, for younger folks now, sleep has gotten deprioritized big time, because most people sleep with their phone right by their side and it's on. And so the priority is not missing something as opposed to sleeping. And that's a major source of anxiety. And so the solution would be no phones, battery powered alarm clock, no phones in the bedroom, and that they're either off or in airplane mode, far away from where people are sleeping. And I'm being specific about this because these are very practical things that will instantly work.
Yeah.
and all
What I
that.
started to do over a year now is like once I'm going to bed, I'm turning off everything Wi-Fi related, everything
Everything.
airplane
Yes.
Yeah.
mode. And
Yeah.
sorry, people, if you can't reach me till I'm awake, but I don't.
They'll be fine, won't they? Yeah, everyone will be fine. I understand because people always say, "Oh, I gotta keep my phone on because of so and so." Sure, have it 10 feet away from you,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But this is, a major thing that's happening in terms of culture, and just saying that there are solutions for it. And spirituality then comes in terms of how do you know you're safe? Thank you, angels, for protecting me and my loved ones every single day. And
Yeah.
these are prayers that could be said by anyone. And so it's just trusting that with, let's say, if there is, as you're describing, parents with a spiritually minded child who don't know what to say, let's start by listening and finding resources that might be really helpful, And there's lots of them. Rachel has lots of YouTube videos. I have lots of YouTube videos that are free, and this and that. And resources like Insight Timer and going to places like Soul Search. But just finding safe people with a safe message. And it's recognizing the commonality of intention in all that, that we all do this work because we want to, and we care about it, and we want to be of service.
I love the practical tips you're sharing that people can just start doing immediately. That's not even as spiritual, and yet it really changes. Rachel, would you also be able to add something more spiritual angle? And I'm coming back to the same question though, is if the parent is not spiritual, but it's like, but I love my kid, I will do anything, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And yet the teenager now is just so like they can't even share that with their parent because they wouldn't understand. How would you guide these parents? Like, well, how about doing something simple like this? Like you mentioned prayer or something, but
prayer. And I feel like having connection time with our child, as our kids get older, actually driving in the car with our kids is really magical time.
Do longer road trips, drive around the block.
Long road trips. And it's a great way to open up a conversation. And because you're not directly looking at each other, I feel that that's a great thing that the parents can bring in, like going, especially ideal if it could just be the two of them, to be able to have that open conversation. And also the power of prayer, of that parent, calling in blessings and inviting the angels, the messengers of God, to help in the healing and the harmony in their relationship with their child, to help their child to receive the help that they need, also from them and also from other sources, like calling in divine guidance and intervention. What were you going to say, Mark?
That the driving thing is especially effective with young men.
Yeah, very. I will attest to that.
So all the dads out there with the boys or moms with the sons or whatever, go drive. And like you said, you don't have to stare at one another.
Exactly. It's the most beautiful conversations happen. Yeah. My son's 19, so I attest from my experience.
Oh, I love that. That is a really good tip there. I love it.
It's really special. Yeah. Yeah. And it really opens up a beautiful door to like a real connection. And it's really, really powerful. With your child. Yeah.
I think that there's a slightly different way to look at all this, which is we are used to and we are taught that spirituality is woo-woo and out there, and you have to like be initiated in 10 different things. And none of that's true.
Yeah.
And it's just very simply, it's about access.
Yeah. Thank you. So could you then literally give, and of course, addition to we'll share later your links where people can find more, like you said, the free meditations, they can do, sessions with you and everything. We share all that. But for now, could you give something very simple? Let's say when the parent then sits in the car, like, I don't even know where to start. What am I supposed to, like, what is the first sentence or thing they can do, or a simple prayer or thing that then now when they are in the car, either in their mind or out loud, what is so simple they could just say or do?
Well, I'm thinking initially just starting out with small talk, like about the weather, about the day or the meal that they just had, and then from there getting the conversation going, and from there opening it up, such as, that's a really good question. Like, what would you say? Like, Like, how are you, like, how are you doing? Like, what's going on? I'm,
What's on your mind?
opening, what's on your mind?
What's been on your mind?
Yeah, just feeling like I would just like to invite this, for you to share, like, what's on your mind? What's happening?
Yeah.
You know?
And then just sit in that quietness, give them a chance to take that,
Yes.
respond, not
Yes.
jump in with additional questions, perhaps, or I don't know.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's really good to try, like, opening up the door and then being quiet and letting them express.
Yeah.
And being okay with pauses too.
Mm-hmm.
To not try to fill all the silences.
Right.
And perhaps it's, everyone's an expert in their own kid, it's just recognizing, a big bond I have with Rachel's son is music, and, it's just seeing like, what have you been listening to?
Yes. That's
and what do you like about that? What do you like about that artist?
excellent idea, because I think most kids listen to music, right? What an easy entrance to that. I love it.
And to listen to, let's say a kid likes a certain artist, to listen to the artist, and then you're going to glean a whole lot of information about, like, well, what are the themes of that artist?
I love it.
What do you, and it's just like this, the learning space, like, what do you like about this artist?
I love it.
And it's all these things are about connection, but also investing and listening.
Yes.
And recognizing that we all want to be seen and heard, especially kids, and we all want to be loved. And in all the distractions that are happening now, what's it like to dedicate time and space and to have that be consistent?
Mm-hmm.
Like at dinner time, this, that, or a certain drive, this and that, but just to be consistent that this is a time to connect.
Yeah, I love that. So it is like bringing little flavors of tradition in there that can be as simple as, like you said, asking what's in your mind or what kind of music you're listening to, but bring it into your regular life so it's not as awkward when it happens once in 10 years, But based on some people's relationship, hopefully most of them are more in tune daily. But if you're now going back to your own youth when you were young, let's say if you could go back in time, knowing everything you know now, what kind of tip or message would you give to yourself? Like, you could do more of this, or like, don't do this, or don't worry about this. What advice would you give to your younger you?
I would invite the younger me to be more gentle with myself.
Yes.
And to walk through open doors and to know that you are more powerful than you realize.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very true, Mark.
Yeah. And I feel also that your presence, you're being you as a gift, not only to yourself, but to everyone else.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I think these messages are important now. Why I'm bringing this up is like for the younger people now, if they would, if their parents are like, well, what should I encourage my child, talk about in the car? It could be those things that you're mentioning right now. You're much more powerful than you think you are. What do you think, Mark, would have been a great thing for you to hear when you were younger to encourage you, like we're talking now? If someone's driving in the car with their children, what would be the encouraging thing to hear?
Take the pressure off of things, to take the pressure off of the present moment and put things into a larger context.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there are many things that are universally true about spiritual people. And one that we've had a tough go, usually in childhood or adolescence and such. We've had to overcome things. And it's just seeing what has that created. It's created resilience because we're still here. It's also created curiosity because we know that more is possible, that things can be better. And it's a matter of recognizing what support looks like, and also to ask for support. And I remember very specifically at different points of my life, in my teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, people like taking me out to lunch and talking to me. And like, I can't remember, I knew they were trying to help. Like, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Sorry to swear, but no idea what you're talking about. And just seeing where, working backwards, they weren't using language I understood, because I was a super aware of problems, and I'm like a really good problem solver.
Mm-hmm.
And what if I didn't have to do that? This is my lesson, which is to not solve problems, but to put forward intention and work with the angels of, like, so there's no problems.
Mhm. So could you also give some ideas, what have worked for you that maybe people could, borrow your techniques in life of when there are problems or more challenging lower times in life? What do you do to help yourself to get going? Is it something you do on your own or with others, or what has worked for you that others can borrow from you?
I'll jump in. I feel asking for help, calling in the divine,
Mhm.
just asking for the support that you need and knowing that you're worthy of receiving it.
That's huge. It seems so
Yeah.
simple and it really isn't. you know.
Right?
Mhm.
And you're not going to take Archangel Michael away from someone else because he can be with everyone simultaneously since there's no time and space restrictions. And
So it doesn't have to be a physical person you're reaching out, right?
yeah, it could be the divine, and it could also be a person that you really wanting to connect with, and just like letting them know that I'd really like to connect with you and have a one-on-one conversation to connect and support each other and reaching out for the help that you need. I think
Yeah.
that that's part of it too, because I feel our society puts the idea that we could you need to figure it out on your own, but we're
Yeah.
not meant to figure it out on our own. We're meant to be with others and to receive blessings from each other and support and help.
What I love that you're bringing out is like asking for help and guidance really from angels, because often when we are in a place of very low moments, this is a time where you should ask for help, but this is a time you forget to ask for help or you don't for whatever reason. But knowing that that is readily available no matter where you are, what situation you're in, you don't even have to, if you don't want to, talk to anybody physical, but you do have your angels there to talk to you. Believe it or not, do it anyway, right?
True. Try it anyway. Try it out and say, hey, are you there? Of course they are, but
Yeah.
they basically just need to open the door, even if it's, well, if you're there, I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to receive your support. And that opens the door too.
Yeah. Mark, you want to add anything to the?
Well, there's like three things. One, all of our language around angels involves them coming and going. And I think we'll tell a little bit of a joke, which is, well, what else are they doing? They're always around, or always around. And it's a matter of like continuing the conversation you were having, hours ago, which is like, thank you, angels, for helping me with this. I think in terms of asking for help, it's especially culturally more limited for men. And this is one of our main things that we're working, which is we're allowing men to have full emotional lives rather than getting stunted. And in terms of your earlier question of like, what to do is how to solve problems, which is to put things into a context.
Mm-hmm.
And we live in an era where all the trauma is on the surface: personal trauma, national trauma, global trauma, universal trauma, and it's on the surface to be healed.
Mm-hmm.
But I find value in just kind of over if it's someone I know, like I know what their traumas are, or even let's say in a reading or in a group, it could pretty rapidly ascertain like, okay, there's a thing, and just let's put things into a context. And everyone has trauma,
Right?
and it's just recognizing, well, what's that like, and when how are people responding to things, and if we think of in this specific time right now, the two major things that are being dealt with are authority and discernment.
Mm-hmm.
What is actual authority, and what if we're in charge?
Mm-hmm.
And having discernment of like, that's messed up, that's okay, let's go this way. Mm-hmm. But also, this all leads to what would we like to have happen? What would be the best thing that can happen?
Mm-hmm.
Which is also a question to ask a kid in a car.
Can you give again examples so people are like, instead of asking this or instead of just like complaining, like start asking the right questions? Can you give some physical and like examples how to do that for the ones like, what do you mean? Like, how do I,
Well, it's a question people will only answer honestly, which is, what would you like to have happen? What would be the best thing that can happen?
Yes.
People know. Mm-hmm. And it's often super informative to ascertain that, to understand what is actually present in terms of finding solutions. But if we trust things like everyone wants to be seen and heard, and the specter around spirituality is grandiosity, the idea that it's about like, oh, I'm so great. Like, it's the opposite. It's very humbling. you know, that when we're filled up with love, which can happen at any moment, that's very clarifying. But it's also a we, not an I.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You know, and the quickest way to ascertain a mental health issue is grandiosity.
Good
You
point.
know, so it's a seeing where there's many options in terms of making the world big, and that we don't need to have all the answers, but we can be curious.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it's worth bringing up in all this that animals are incredibly helpful in terms of communication, because we tend to treat animals with unconditional love. You know, we see a dog, we go, "Oh my God, you're adorable." And what if we treated each other that way? You know,
Good point.
Yeah, I do often mention I started to practice that on myself a few years back, where or at least I used to treat myself like, I don't know, one of the worst creatures, right? And now started to like intentionally like, wait. If I'm making a mistake, I don't call myself stupid for doing it. It's like, wait, pause. Nope. Yeah. Would I say that to the cute puppy? Like, just switch it, even if it already came out of the mouth. Okay, I'm going to now try to reword it. How would I say, And so just being really kind to yourself, even if it's just noticing initially, making the mistake. Next time you'll notice faster. Next time you notice before you speak negatively about yourself, just starting from there, right? With the
Yeah.
positive kindness towards yourself. And that just goes everywhere.
Yeah, and mistakes lead to wisdom. That
Yeah.
we have this idea of perfection, and the idea, especially in spiritual world, that we have to be perfect. No, we make mistakes and we learn from the mistakes. It's a matter of the progression and the self-forgiveness and putting things into a context,
I think it is so
here to
important
learn.
to say it out loud, because especially me too, I've done this for years, like, oh, perfection. And I'm just assuming that everybody else is perfect but me. And so therefore, creating this false, like, I need to do this right. And to having the permission that, it's okay to make mistakes. That's how as part of our journey, we learn this way. We discover something on, making these mistakes. Because I was brought up the Soviet time, and the worst thing you can do in life is making a mistake that could result in the worst punishment possible. And now in America, my daughter going to kindergarten is like, yay, we celebrate mistakes. This is great. That's an opportunity to learn. I'm like, what? So
Wow.
it's such a different, like, culturally already, how we are brought up. And it's just like, this is the truth. And so just now as an adult to like working through all the patterns, the ways of life that we were brought up with, like the whole country and Baltics, and I guess in that region near Russia, like a lot of them are just with the same upbringing. That's the truth. And then, you don't speak up and you don't do those things. So it's now working to remove those things. Do you have any tips on that for people who are so culturally or upbringing wise, toned down or like stepped on, or, how can they start raising little by little to come to their higher frequency and into this world?
There are several things with that, which is what we're touching upon is, so, 5-year-old Ingrid in the Soviet Union, was told that there's a right and a wrong.
Yes, for sure.
And that conscious adult Ingrid, who's here and is a healer, can talk to 5-year-old Ingrid and let her know that the adults were well-meaning, but it's too limited. And it's not making people wrong or bad, but it's recognizing it's okay for her to be a kid. It's okay for her to make mistakes. It's okay for her to learn. And that what we're doing in that kind of language, that parts work, talking to aspects of ourselves, is to find freedom. That 5-year-old Ingrid's job is to play.
Yeah.
And
And is that the kind of work you guys are, because I want to now talk a little bit more. What is it that you guys do in your sessions? Because I understand they're a little bit different, right? Even though you're both working with angels, but I think you've mentioned, but they're still a little bit different. Could you give a taste of both of you to the listeners? What would it be like to work with the angels through you? How does it work?
So for me and my one-on-one sessions, I do a combination of one-on-one sessions, and I also have some group programs for women, the Angelic Sanctuary Journey, which is a personal growth journey together in sisterhood with the angels. And I also have a certification program where I certify women to work with the angels to support not only themselves, but others. Which is wonderful. But in the one-on-one sessions, I do a combination of spiritual counseling, angelic prayer. I have a big repertoire of clearing and healing meditations that I tailor to my client. And a lot of it is compassionate listening and holding that beautiful sacred space with the angels who love us unconditionally and never judge us. And they're here to fully support us and to lead them through the sessions with this incredible loving support and just a beautiful, safe sanctuary space.
I love
Unwind and release what is happening. Sometimes people just need to talk it through and to be really heard in a beautiful, compassionate space. And adding in the angels is extra special.
And Rachel, you do this work in Palo Alto area?
I live in Palo Alto, yeah, and I mostly do my work online on Zoom and phone. And also when I'm at a Soul Search event, I will do angelic guidance sessions in person. Which I'll be doing in Palo Alto coming up in a couple, well, actually in a week from, this next weekend, and we'll be at Soul Search in Palo Alto.
Love that.
Yeah.
And how is yours different the way you work with when clients come to you, and how do they get, what do they get, and how do they get that?
Well, I think the basic thing is similar to Rachel, like asking the angels for guidance and letting angels and guides and just see what they say, and to follow that and ascertain rapidly, like what is the core thing the person sitting in front of you could benefit from, and how to make that person's world bigger. And so there's lots of different things that can come on the table. And it was the thing with guidance, like they're going to, angels don't mess around. They're going to like focus on this, what about this, or ask this question.
Yeah,
I'll just tell a quick story, which is there's a lady who came for a session, and I said, what would you like to focus on? She said, I'd like to talk about my business. And so, okay. And so I prayed, and while I'm praying, the angels say like husband. I say, what's happening to your husband? He's talking about killing himself.
Oh, what detail.
Yeah. Right.
Wow.
But what makes sense is she got in the door.
Yeah.
The main thing is she got in the door. Whatever reason there was, because there was a lot of shame around that. So it doesn't matter what she said. The angels went to the core of it.
Yes.
And that's what can happen with guidance, which is it's people's intentions matter, but I put forward, and I know Rachel does too, intention like who we talk to. So it's not random.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
But this gets into a space of, why do we both have free content? It's to reach people. It's to help people, and if people want to have a session, great. But we're going to basically cut to the chase, get to the core of what's happening, Yeah.
Now, on the journey of, discovering your path, do you have any very I will never forget this, like an aha moment, something that maybe you used to believe one way and this the other, or you were working with the angels, you're like, wait, what? This is how it works? Just wanted to show people who are starting to get on this path and oh, that's cool. I've experienced this, or I wondered about that. Any aha moments for you that were very memorable on your journey that you're like,
Yeah. Well, for me, I had an incredible experience with the angels that really opened up the door for me to really walk through the door with the angels. And that was in 98, where that's an unforgettable moment where I was driving with our mom in the car. We'd just been visiting with Mark in Ashland, Oregon, and we were driving back into California, and we were in windy passes right outside of Dunsmuir. And all of a sudden I hit a patch of black ice on the road, and I lost control of the car. And in that moment, I was completely divinely guided what to do, because I was braking, because I'm, a girl from Palo Alto. I don't know how to drive in those conditions. And I was guided what to do. My angel was right there, and her voice was very strong in my left ear. And she told me to get my foot off the brake. She told me what to do. And so, and I felt the calm feeling with that as well. So I listened to my guidance, and I feel that in hindsight, I realized I think Archangel Michael probably stepped in as well, because I got over 2 lanes over from the left to the right into a snowbank right next to a truck stop, and we were
Wow.
perfectly safe. It was a
Wow.
miracle. It was all, and I was at the, and then I was able to call for help because it was a truck stop with a payphone. This is right before everyone had a cell phone. So
Yeah.
that's a
Wow.
very memorable moment. So knowing ultimately that no matter what, we are watched over, we are protected. And when it comes down to it, our angels are right there for us. Even if I didn't literally ask for help in that moment, because if it's an intense life-threatening situation, they will step in and intervene when it's not our time. So that's one of my more memorable stories that comes to my mind, and also knowing the relief that comes when we give the angels permission to help us, especially when we're so stressed out and worried and like rumination fears are going through our mind, or worst case scenarios. I invite you to call in angelic support, because it's truly healing and miraculous.
Could this also be a place before, Mark? I do want to hear your answer.
Yes.
But could you, I'm just thinking again in my life recently, I guess in the past few years, and continuously still have a lot of dear family members or friends who have cancer, who have passed of cancer, who are now dealing with it. Could we suggest to them to reach out and ask support from angels? What would you suggest?
Why don't you chime in there, Mark?
When people tell me they have anxiety, insomnia, or cancer, my first question is, do you sleep next to your phone? And the answer is almost always yes. So there would be that, specifically with cancer, to just notice what the atmosphere is like, and it's there for a reason, and to get into relationship with the cells that are having that condition, and to get into conversation. And that could certainly be facilitated, but it's mainly understanding that our bodies give us feedback.
Yes.
And so the fact that we're, especially younger people, are an anxious generation, what's the anxiety? And it's getting into solutions, which might be the battery powered alarm clock, and but to recognize that this is happening for a reason. And when our bodies give us feedback, like cancer, it's an all hands on deck situation. And it's putting everything on the table, like what's working, what's not, and what would make our bodies feel good. Someone close to me had last year had pretty substantial cancer, and we're able to do a lot of work. Basically, that person's living their dream. And so this thing came up. It was like old energy and this and that. And just to, I think what works with cancer is to acknowledge our body, the healing power of acknowledgement, and acknowledgement, and to take action, take good care of ourselves, and to let something different happen, and to have things to look forward to.
Yes, that's excellent. That's
to give. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead and finish your thought. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Not interrupt. I was just supporting what you're saying. Also, is like, start loving yourself, starting accepting and not hating that part of your cancer. What I was like, hey, what have you not, like, I haven't paid attention to you. Are you part of me? I love you. Let me hear what your message is. What are you trying to tell me? What can I, do to help? And it's just really talking to your body. And then even if you think you're making it up, it's okay. Just pretend. If you would assume what it would answer, what do you think the answer would be? And just get into that conversation with your body and letting go, and in what you enjoy and love, like you said, right? Focus towards enjoyment and bringing yourself to the higher energy and things like this. But I still want to get the answer from you about the any ahas that you had through your journey here. You're like, wow, that I do remember. That was like surprising.
I'm going to do one more cancer note real quick, which is to put things into motion. So if we think of, in essence, cancer stuck energy, let's get into motion.
Okay.
And that's physical motion, emotional motion, but just like letting anything that's stuck, to work on it. There's multiple. So all the traumas on the surface, we also have more ways to heal trauma than ever before. So it's like this perfect time to actually deal with stuff. And we live in this time where the healers are healing.
Yes.
And that's a really important context, and no one's standing still.
Mhm.
Everyone is changing. Everyone is evolving right now. If we think of it as a vibrational shift, let's vibrate high.
Mhm. Yeah.
And the low vibration is where things like cancer happen, you know? And it's just putting into a context. And why I'm sharing all this is there's a context to it. It's not mysterious, and it's not a battle.
Mhm.
It's an acceptance. It's loving the entirety of your being, not
Mhm.
hating part of you.
Yes.
Because that's an adolescent point of view, and the adult is that this is feedback.
Mhm.
In the same way that we get a message on voicemail and we listen to it and delete it, how about we delete the message of our bodies, whatever ailment we're having? That we get the message, we take action on it. So the person I was mentioning who I'm close to a serious thing happening, that person is perfectly healthy now.
Excellent.
That person hated to exercise and now exercises every single day.
Yeah.
You know, just stuff like that, of like seeing like what's possible, but also being very clear in visions of having that person visualize a year from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now.
Right. Getting your mind and energy, everything set to like, this is my expectation. You better
Yes.
follow, like, catch up with it.
But letting ourselves know that too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Giving our bodies information. You know, in terms of aha moments, that there's individual ones like, you know, like Rachel mentioned and such, but also there's, I think the main core of it is recognizing that we're in a relationship with angels and guides.
Mhm.
And that this is like layers of the onion, like that relationship becomes deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And it's recognizing how loved we are and how much support there is. And it's also when things manifest to be grateful. We're pretty rude to the angels if we think about it. Where the hell were you when this happened? You know? And what's it like to not be rude and to talk to them every single day, you know, with gratitude. Thank you, angels, for helping me in every single part of my life. Anything you want me to know? You know, just to have a conversation, to check in.
I love that. This is one of the good tips leading to my next question before we start wrapping up, because I love chatting with you guys, but you know, we're trying to not spend a whole day here. I was wondering, you know, the ones who are still like, you know, at Soul Search, they're like, I don't know yet. Like, I'm starting to enter this world. I don't know yet, you know, a little hesitant. So I guess it's a two-part questions. Like, if we see people who are curious about it, and then yet they're like a little bit hesitant or afraid to enter it because maybe leaving their identity or whatever their belief is there. Because I met some people like, yeah, I'm kind of curious. They're playing with it, but they don't dare to go really into it. So that's kind of part of the. Let's answer this one first. What do you have for the people who kind of want it and then yet they're afraid to enter that world?
I feel it's like an analogy of like when they come into Soul Search as your example, Ingrid, and they're coming into the room and they're not fully comfortable. Like, I feel like they're there by a divine appointment, and the fact that they're even there alone is healing right there. You know, and I feel like I would just say, just like give yourself time and space, you know, knowing there's a part of your soul in your being that's calling for you to go walk towards spirituality. And so just take it slow and be gentle with yourself. Like, maybe they went to that first Soul Search event and go to the next one and maybe attend a couple more talks and consider coming back to talk to you, Ingrid, or, you know, working with myself or Mark, who will be there at the upcoming event and other upcoming events. So that's my initial answer for that. Because it's like I heard Mark once say that. So another healer said to him is that the fact that they're even in the room, that they're even there, is huge.
Yeah. But the ones who don't even know about that kind of events to go to, but they're like, you know, they tumbled on me. There was this one person I have in mind, and little by little, she keeps, you know, moving into this world, and she's checking in with me. But whenever there's, you know, I'm like, you're so capable, you're so amazing, look at the magic you can do. She's like, oh, I don't know about that. And then she just pulls back right away. So that's, I'm just thinking, like, how can she be encouraged? Or if it's just like you said, it's on her own time, whenever
On
she
her own time, yeah, and being gentle with herself in the process. What do you
Yeah.
think, Mark? What would you add?
Well, I would add to that specific example of like recognizing the role of fear and insignificance. The idea that it's going to be dangerous, and spirituality has gotten a bad rap with it being dangerous. And just, I was like, in this specific time of, we never talk about the evolution of spirituality ever, but like we are far away from the guru model. And I think people are afraid that someone's going to take over their lives, or someone's going to give them misinformation, or someone's going to try to foster dependence. I think something Rachel and I share is we're here to foster independence and foster empowerment.
Absolutely.
Empowerment for people. And so it's just like, I think this gets into discernment in terms of like, Rachel's really freaking friendly, really friendly, and it's just seeing like, who do you want to work like what does it look like? And I think this is the benefit of having stuff on YouTube and this and that, and also Insight Timer, which is this free meditation app. Like there's all these different live events. There's hundreds a day, and you kind of just pop in for even 30 seconds and like just see like, well, what are they doing? Does it resonate with me? Are they telling the truth? Or are they just doing a hype thing? And just finding there's people who are really sincerely doing serious work, and that interests me. Mm-hmm. But the old model is like the guru, like, I know, you're lucky to be in my presence. I know, and just it's nonsense.
Yeah.
The replacement is let's do it together.
Yes, I so agree.
I do think there's a context to about the friend you were sharing about, which is this isn't for everyone.
Yeah,
it's not for everyone. It's not cookie cutter.
But I think where she's also coming from is a bit of but then I'm giving up me who I've always been, versus I'm like, well, now then you're really becoming you, the amazing you.
But there's pain behind that thought. There's pain. And it's just recognizing people do things in their own timing, but this is the part of the intensity of now is authority and discernment. Who's in charge? We're in charge. We're recognizing in this time that there's a lot of people giving away their power and being obedient. And what's it like to do the opposite? What's it like to be more independent? We're all dealing with pain on some level. This is no one's standing still. This is a time of pervasive change. It's a scene like, what's actually going to help? Mm-hmm. What's going to help?
What's going to help?
Which is being seen and heard and helped and supported and to be understood. But also, hey, let's call in Archangel Michael and see what happens.
Yeah.
When
you follow what feels good, then why not do more what feels good?
Exactly. Like follow the pull to love, the call for love, which we all seek ultimately.
Yeah. And so maybe this is a good place to then pull our together for this time, even though I'd love to chat with you more, and maybe one day we'll do it again. But what would be some of these tips for the ones who are now, I am ready, I just don't know where to start? The ones
I would say open up to where you're being guided to go and walk through the open doors. Like you're feeling the call to spirituality, just like maybe that's having another conversation with Ingrid, or, checking out the next Soul Search event if you happen to be local in this area, or watching the live stream because they live stream that event. Just like follow the call to which it's coming forward to you. And notice repetitious signs as well. Like if you're getting guided in a certain direction, there's a reason. That's not an accident. Divine guidance is repetitive, powerful.
I love that. Repetitive. You start noticing things repetitively, then
yes,
you don't know the answer. Google, at least get some sort of first step going to then see where that leads you. Come to an event or reach out to one of us.
Yes, we're here for you.
Mark, what are your thoughts of good tips for the beginners who are just like, I'm curious about this world, but don't know where to start?
To, dip a toe in the water and just, this like no one's going to know if someone watches a YouTube video for 2 minutes or 20 minutes. No one's going to know, and it's just trusting affinity, what feels good, and also to learn. If someone's trying to dominate, you move away from that. If someone's trying to help you, maybe you listen and just see what happens. Basically, just a different way to say, like, there's options available with recordings that are completely private, and just to dip your toe in and find out. And this is a language. but it's also an accessible language. Also, just want to know, I totally get all the questions for beginners, totally get that. And it's a seeing where people have been doing this for a long time, just acknowledging those folks too, and good job. Keep going. A lot of people bail out on this, at certain points. And I think there's this tremendous value in recognizing people who are really invested in it. And really do learn and change over time. It's just trusting that everything's possible. Everything's a little accelerated right now, but it's just trusting that the acceleration is due to the things that we're manifesting, which is a world where there's generosity and encouragement, where all of our needs are met and exceeded.
Yes.
So all those different things. Yeah.
Maybe one more thing I would add, just because you guys are siblings and I love my sisters. And even if you don't have your own siblings to support you, or you just don't have that relationship, then come to these events or seek out, people like us, or seek out the same kind of people who don't tell you. Like a very good friend of mine in the beginning of my process said, Ingrid, I can confidentially give you a contact for someone to go check out your mental, and he meant well with it, because I was sharing I'm seeing all these movies and, those things in my mind, and he meant well, but I'm like, no, I think I'm okay. I don't think I'm quite, there.
Yes.
Can I just respond to that? This is about, in spirituality, we use all of ourselves, not segments of ourselves, not little parts of ourselves. And, America's obsessed with cognition.
Yes.
America's obsessed with information, and it's light of an experience. Hence a generation that has a lot of anxiety. Let's get into experience.
Yeah.
Let's get into experience and trust that there's people who are really open-minded, but also just finding those open doors, that there are great films and books, but also there's a lot of just things of people doing things in different ways, be that a YouTube video or an event on an app or in person, let's say a soul search and such like that, that it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to go in and just walk around, see that resonates, that doesn't. That contrast is really helpful.
Yes.
And it's okay to recognize what resonates with you, and not everything does. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just not your thing. But something else might be your thing that's calling you for who knows what reason. And this is partially why I started these little chats is the same way. So when I was searching in the beginning, what's happening to me? What is going on? How did people get started? So this is why I love that for others who are asking these same questions can hopefully, maybe this is one way for them to get started, is to hear you talk, how you got started, to get your encouragement of telling the little tips to do, like driving in the car with your kids, or just ask for the angels for support. So thank you for sharing yourself, what you do with all these amazing tips, and so grateful for you being here today.
Thank you so much, Ingrid. This has been a wonderful, fabulous opportunity, and we're so excited, to have been here with you. And for everyone who's going to be watching our time with you today, our conversation.
Thank you.
Indeed. Thank you very much, and appreciate everyone who is listening and will listen. Just blessings, love to everyone. And appreciate everyone and honoring everyone. A different way to say, for folks who are new to this, you are honored where you are.
Yes.
That in releasing hierarchy, that you are welcome exactly as you are, and you are loved exactly as you are right now.
So powerful.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Welcome.
Thank you, Ingrid. So much love to everyone.
Thank you for joining us. If you are a healer with valuable insights to share, we'd love to hear from you, as together we can inspire, heal, and raise one another. Till we meet again, sending you love, light, and gratitude.